In this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about how we can prevent unloaded firearms from going bang. And that's changing the way that we learn to unload firearms. Quick breakdown, if you understand what I'm talking about in this, you can stop the video here. Treat a pistol or even a rifle like a G3 rifle or an MP5. Anytime you're going to be working with a magazine, putting in a new magazine or taking a magazine out, lock the action to the rear. That's simple. First thing you do is lock the action to the rear. It makes ejection of the magazine a lot simpler and insertion of the magazine a lot simpler, improves the loading procedure, and it's more consistent with what you'll actually do when you're using the weapon system in a fight. So now let's go and let's talk and look at the old school unloading procedures. So old school unloading procedures that's still taught today, but I'm calling it old school because it is. Take out the source of feed. Between this point and this next point, typically this is where people get distracted and lost, and they end up, shooting themselves. So you're typically supposed to lock open the slide and, visually and physically inspect, right? Here's how awful our situation is. There are firearms now made to force you to have to do this because they're trying to prevent themselves from getting sued or somebody else getting hurt. M&P is a great example of this. You have to lock the slide to the rear to manipulate this tab downwards so you can disassemble it. So you have to lock the slide to the rear. And there are other firearms that will not allow you to actually flip this lever down. They're made very similarly, like SIG 320s, I believe, are the same way, where if you try to pull this lever down with a magazine inserted, it will not let you. So the magazine has to be out and the slide has to be locked to the rear before you can disassemble it. They're trying to use, the gun companies are ahead of us in trying to work around this crappy way we learned how to unload firearms to the point where unloaded firearms are going off. Maybe it's time to change. So what I'm advocating is working in order of priority. And it's very simple. If you do this and you deactivate the firing capability of the firearm as soon as possible, you're not going to have an issue. This requires one thing and one thing only. You need to be able to lock a slide to the rear. Okay? There's a lot of people out there that have made the argument that some people are not able to lock a slide to the rear. Well, then those people should not be handling firearms. If you cannot manipulate a firearm competently and the controls, because locking a slide to the rear is a function of the firearm, and the controls, i.e. slide stop, or slide lock, whatever you want to call it, is meant to lock the slide to the rear. Same with rifles. If you cannot lock the action back, you should not be handling the firearm. And you should not be responsible for loading or unloading a firearm if you cannot control that. It's kind of like a vehicle. Don't get more vehicle than you can handle, right? So, anyways, now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the levels of priority. So, first priority is the thing that can make a unknown firearm or the firearm we're carrying go off. So, obviously, we want to grab it and keep our fingers straightened off the trigger and stay away from that. We're not trying to get it to go off. So, priority number one, good to go. Got it. Next priority, the chamber. What is in the chamber? Is there anything in the chamber? And I'm worried that this thing is still capable of firing. How do we do that? How do we fix that? Well, we deactivate its firing capability or take away its ability to fire. Lock the slide to the rear. This step, after grabbing the firearm, the first step you do is lock the slide to the rear. It goes along with the G3 or MP5 manual of arms. There is no way that you're going to be mistaken on whether there are rounds in the magazine or rounds in the chamber, but you've also taken away its ability to fire. I could have live rounds in here and just ejected something and have it locked back. I could even have a round inserted in the chamber right now. It's never going to go off. Not in a million years in this current setting right here. Now you can unload magazines. Like I said earlier, the area where people seem to get messed up is in the old school way of taking out the source of feed and then locking the slide to the rear. It's a boring old way to do things for a lot of people, but if it becomes a habit to grab the gun, lock it back to the rear, and then take out the source of feed, it's unmistakable every time. That is how you keep guns that are unloaded from going off. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got a little bit out of it, and hopefully you will practice this because I believe it is a more efficient and safe way to go. Anybody from beginners to experts can do this. Learn to lock a slide to the rear. It is a basic function of firearms handling. I would say more basic than even pulling a trigger. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and you guys have a good one.